Welcome to Brag Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous, hosted by Candace and Larry Goins, best-selling real estate author. Whether it's learning how to be an active investor, buying and selling houses, or a passive investor earning double-digit returns, Larry and Candace will show you how. In addition to helping you get started investing in real estate regardless of your current situation, they'll also show you ways to be generous with your time and resources. Let's get started with this week's Brag Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous. Here are your hosts, Candace and Larry.
How you doing?
What's happening? Good after Saturday noon. What's up? I didn't even say that right, did I?
I don't think so, but we'll just go with it. We'll go with it.
Good after Saturday noon.
Good after Saturday noon. It's one of those days.
Saturday. What's up?
It's one of those. We've been traveling a lot.
Oh my gosh, we have all the time. In fact, traveling so much, we had to get a private charter for one of the flights recently.
You did, yeah. For one of yours.
And you know what?
I didn't make it on a private charter. I'm still flying commercial.
I'm spoiled.
You want it all the time now, don't you?
Listen, I've been visiting other airports looking for a permanent pilot that has a plane. Because let me tell you something about this charter thing.
Hey, so guess what? Info at Brag Radio. If you are licensed to private charter, send us a message. Info at bragradio.com. Larry's looking for a plane and a pilot.
I am, that can fly out of Rock Hill or Gastonia. And, think about it. We hired a third-party we hired a charter service.
Right.
They found a guy with a plane. He hired a pilot, and they flew from Spartanburg to pick me up in Chattanooga to take me to Charlotte, and then he had to fly back to Spartanburg home. So I'm thinking, for all this, a guy with a charter hires a guy with a plane who hires a pilot. If I can just find one guy in Rock Hill that has a plane, right?
We'll see how it works out. I'm not completely sold on this idea, but this show is about real estate.
I prefer an SR22, by the way.
You were. Beggars can't be choosers, Larry Goins. Beggars can't be choosers.
So if you can fly an SR22 or have one, you're a charter, or we want to become good friends, and you can fly me around the Southeast.
Jeez Louise.
Info at bragradio.com.
There you go.
Tell
so
Candace.
This is Brag Radio. It's all about investing to be rich and generous, like Chad said in the opening. And occasionally we talk about real estate on the show, a little bit here and there. Most of the time we just
a smidge, a skosh.
If you guys want, more detailed information, we'll give this number out a couple times throughout the show. But if you're ready to go ahead and get started because you like us already, give Macy a call, 877-LARRY-GO, and she can get you set up with an investor kit and everything.
You could also tell her if you're a pilot.
You can also tell her if you're a pilot.
If you're a pilot or have an SR22.
Hey, so we've got a bunch of questions from our last 3-day event.
Well, first of all, before we jump into that, I think it's important that we let people know. I mean, we are local real estate investors, okay? Like if you're just now tuning in.
We're local to Charlotte. Now, and I say that because our lovely radio station, WBT, broadcasts this show up and down the East Coast.
Yeah, so this is our flagship station.
So we're local to the Charlotte market. We're local to Charlotte, North Carolina. Our office is in Lake Wiley. Just for clarification.
Exactly.
That's what I do. That's my role here.
And we teach. Your role is to clarify, right?
To clarify your.
I give
words.
clarity. That's what it is. Clarity. But
I wash the windows.
Hey, I don't think that's ever happened. But basically, what we do is we teach people to invest in real estate. We want you to go out and make a lot of money in real estate. And
of course.
And then we want you to brag, okay? We want you to be rich and generous, whether you're an active investor or want to be an active investor, flipping houses, wholesaling houses, whether you want to be a landlord or buy and sell notes or create notes, seller finance properties, or if you just want to invest passively, like become an active real estate investor's private money lender or be a hard money lender, all that stuff, we do it and we teach people how to do it.
And there's no right or wrong way to do it. There's so many different things. Larry and I go to events all the time as attendees, and we learn how other people are working with real estate different from how we're working with real estate. It's just all different, but we'd like to be, along for the ride with you, either helping you advance your real estate career or opening the opportunity for you.
There you go. That's it. And we're coming off the heels last week of our 3-day training, right? Or in what? It was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't
We've
it?
traveled since then. You've lost track of
Oh,
days.
my gosh. Listen, I told my wife the other day, I've been traveling so much. You keep me out on the road. I don't know if that's intentional or what, but you keep me out at expos and conventions and speaking and teaching and training. I came home the other day, and I told my wife I was leaving again. I just came home to repack my suitcase. And I said, honey, next time I'm in town, I'll stop by and see you.
Yeah, it's intentional. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, you keep
I
me out
go
on
with
the road.
you a lot, but you can do that stuff by yourself.
You do. You were traveling with me recently. We went to St. Louis. We've been to Jackson, Mississippi, and
As attendees, yeah.
Yeah, all kind of places.
All right, so we're ready to answer some people questions now.
Yeah, now these are, what kind of questions are these, Candace?
They're all over the place.
No, I mean, where did they come from?
Now
share
some
a
of
little
them
bit
are
about our
mixed in.
3-day event.
Well, they're most of them are from the 3-day events. And what I do is I ask all of our students that are there to not only ask the question aloud in class sessions, but also write it down and drop it off, at the back table for me so we can talk about them on the radio, talk about them in Facebook posts, talk about them on our website, just talk about them in general because they're probably not the only person that has that question. So
Right.
I've got a ton of questions from the 3-day event that came in, and then I've got some that came in to info@Bragg Radio, so you guys can always use that outlet as well. If there's something that you just want to ask real quick, I can get back to you with a response, and we'll probably talk about it on the show too.
You really like doing the Q&A, the questions, don't you?
I love the questions.
You really do.
Well, I love the questions when people have paid attention. I don't like the repeat questions.
Well, we actually
That's
call
fair
it
enough,
Stump
though,
Larry.
right? Isn't that fair enough?
Yeah. We actually call it Stump Larry at our events. See, can you stump Larry?
Yeah.
See, can you?
See, can you?
See, can you?
Yeah, see, can you stump him? Very rare.
So that's what we do.
I did it once on the show.
You
last
did it
year.
once live on the show.
Last year, yeah.
And it's only because it was
legal.
epic. It was legal. It was a legal question, and I'm not an attorney, and I don't play one on the radio.
I don't play one in real life. So, all right, here's one. It says, do you need an earnest money deposit before submitting offers?
Is
that on HUD offers, you think, or on regular?
Well, in that
MLS
context, at the event, they were asking about HUD offers. We
Okay.
buy a lot of HUD houses, okay? In fact, I wrote a book called HUD Homes Half Off. It's available wherever books are sold. And what?
So cheesy. Shameless plug. However, you can get it free if you call Macy at 877-LARRY-GO. It's in your investor's kit.
And you're calling me cheesy?
It was a mimic. Yeah, I was.
Okay. So anyway, and we talk a lot about HUD, buying HUD houses, because we still do buy HUD houses at 50, 40, even 30% of list price, okay? So they were wanting to know every time we put in a bid on a HUD house, because our organization puts in a bid on every HUD house in North and South Carolina every day.
Air day.
Yeah, exactly. And people are asking, do you have to put up your $500 or $1,000 deposit every time you put in a bid? And the short answer is no, okay? We do not have to put up the deposit until you get an offer accepted from HUD. And that's typically, if you're working with the right agent, even if you're buying through the MLS, that's typically true on the MLS as well, okay? On the MLS as well. So you want to be working with the right agent so you can not have to worry about putting up your bid. If you get a new agent or an agent that you are new to them and they don't feel very comfortable or confident with you, then they may make you put up a deposit just to put in an offer. But either, number one, you haven't sold that agent on that you are someone who can actually close on a deal, or that agent is just wanting to get you in the glue. Does that make sense?
So sometimes it's a comfortability level. And once you get your agent more comfortable.
What level?
Comfortability? Is that not a word?
Is that a word?
It's a word.
Comfortability.
Comfortability.
You're going to Google that at the break, aren't you?
No, I don't have to Google it. Just put it down as a Candaceism. It's a word now.
It's a Candaceism. I've
All
got
right.
a list of Candaceisms.
It's a word now.
Yeah.
So anyway, once you get that level of comfort with your realtor, maybe the first two, until they understand what's going on, they'll want that. But we can get into more about the when we come back from the break. I've got some more questions pertaining to earnest money deposits. So stick with us. Give Macy a call, 877-LARRY-GO. Tell her you want your investor's kit. Sign up for an office tour or sign up to come to our next 3-day. We'll see you in just a minute. Welcome back to Bragg Radio. This is Candace here with Larry, who is checking his phone right now. Why are you checking your phone?
Because I can. Because it's
before 9 o'clock.
It's before 9 p.m.
We have this new thing. And We've both committed to not answer emails or do anything work-related after 9 o'clock at night until the next day.
that really, when you verbalize it and say it out loud, it sounds like
common sense.
These guys are working up until 9 o'clock every night.
Sounds like it should be common sense. Like, what do you mean you have to stop working?
The second thing that we committed to is not doing anything work related at least one day a week. I picked Sunday.
You said one. I did 2 days.
Did you really?
I did Saturday and Sunday.
I don't remember that. I'm a little concerned about that.
I'm not doing anything on the weekends anymore unless we have an event.
Wow.
Or the show.
You know what? Good
Which
for
is
you.
an event.
Good for you. That's awesome. So you can spend more time with your family.
You'll get to 2 days.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll just keep adding a day.
I remember,
every couple months we'll add a day.
Yeah, we landed
where
the other night.
We don't do anything.
Right after we decided this, we landed at like 9:05. I open up my phone and I start going through emails. Candace was like,
"You're cheating.
You can't be doing any work after 9 o'clock.
Can't do it."
I'm like, I'm not even home yet.
Nope.
That's crazy. All right, welcome back to Bragg Radio, investing to be rich and generous.
Right.
We teach people how to invest in real estate and encourage you to go out there and be generous with your blessings.
So the last segment, we asked a question about, do you have to have EMD before submitting property offers? You answered that one.
Hold
now,
on.
This one, what?
Simmer down. You got to explain some of this stuff.
No, we don't. We just explained it.
What's an EMD?
Earnest money deposit.
Okay, good.
They just listened to the last segment. If they didn't, they need to go back.
Maybe they need to
go back and listen to the whole thing because we are awesome. Anyway, so we asked about, if you had to have the earnest money deposit before submitting. Now, on that same note, this question didn't come in, but I know it was asked, and I don't even know if it's written down if somebody brought it in. But we said $500 or $1,000. Now, what determines whether the earnest money deposit requested for a HUD property is $500 or $1,000?
That is a great question, and a question I get a lot, because when you're just buying a house through an agent anywhere, the agent could say, well, we want a 10% deposit. If it's a $50,000 house, 10% is $5,000. Okay? Mm-hmm. So with HUD, it's very simple, and that's one of the many reasons I love buying HUD houses, not to mention that there's no negotiating, no marketing. It's all done online. You just submit your bids online. And
it's daily. If you don't get it the first day, you can submit a new bid the next day.
Yeah, we bid on every house in North and South Carolina every day.
Anyway, I don't want to chase a squirrel with that.
Okay. So the deposit. With HUD, it's very simple. If your bid amount, offer accepted, is $50,000 or less, then the deposit that has to be sent in whenever they send you the paperwork is going to be $500, okay? If it's $50,000 or less, it's $500. However, if your accepted bid is over $50,000,
$50,001.
If $50,001 up, okay?
Right.
It's going to be $1,000.
And that's straight from HUD. Like you said that the agent could say, "Oh, we want 10%," or we will. I mean, how would you feel about, do you call the agent out? Have you had an agent tell you that?
No, because...
Well, we don't structure the conversation that way when
I haven't.
Like, let's say a student has an agent and they say, well, it's 10%. How does that conversation flow? Because you don't want to be just like completely a jerk to them and say, well, no, that's not right.
No, you want to do that. But what you can do is say it in a way that lets them know you know what you're talking about.
Right.
But... just in a nice way. Like, for example, well, I'm a little confused. Why would you be wanting 10% when HUD only requires $500?
For this, for this listing.
For this one,
Yeah, just let them know you're confused.
Then you can say, hey, I was born at night, but it wasn't last night.
Make a make a joke out of it. Yeah, do your fake laugh, your best fake laugh. when you say that, just so they know. But when we're at the 3-day events too, you talk a lot about conversation and the way to structure conversation. And I think you go over that more or less in the negotiation part.
Negotiating, yeah. Negotiating is a big part. I'm a firm believer you need to be a good negotiator to be a good real estate investor. However, okay, if you have a good script, which we give you, we go over scripts and stuff at our 3-day event.
And it's in our material too.
Yeah, and it helps you fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make. Why do you walk away? It's like I'm fake it till you make it. Mic drop. And you just walk away. Like, what is that about? How do you just? It helps you fake it till you make it. Nothing else to say.
That's it. I got nothing else. I can't go on. Barry Sobel. Remember that?
All right.
No, you wouldn't. You're too young.
I don't remember what you're talking about. I was just moving on. Oh, here's another one. Can the bank? I guess I don't know what the context of it. This is a little confusing because I don't know what the context was. But
I remember it was only like a week or two ago.
Well, yeah, but I don't remember. So, can the bank legally ask for more than the house is worth? Well,
okay,
anybody can.
That was a question. We were talking about REO properties. REO stands for real estate owned. That's the terminology that's used for bank owned properties when they foreclose on a property. So the question was, let's say a person owned a house. Maybe they bought it 20 years ago for $30,000 or $40,000. Maybe they got a $30,000 loan, 20 years ago, and they got it paid down to $5,000. And then maybe they were deceased, and the children didn't pay it, and it got foreclosed on a balance of like, say, $10,000. But now the house is worth like $80,000. Okay. So can the bank, even though they're only foreclosing on $10,000, can the bank ask more than that $10,000 that is owed when they go to resell the property? Okay?
Right.
And the short answer is yes,
right.
They can. That's why they do what's called a BPO, or broker price opinion. They get a local agent to do that to determine what is the as is and the after repaired value of the property. So the bank is going to ask, or let me just rephrase it this way. What the bank asked for the property has nothing to do with the balance of what was foreclosed on. Most of the time, it's actually the opposite. They might have foreclosed on $150,000, but the property is really only worth $120,000. Right. So they're going to ask $120,000. And the other great thing about, and I know this is not a part of the question, but when I think of stuff, I just got to go there.
Well, I know.
So if the other thing I love about dealing with the bank-owned properties is if the house doesn't sell in 30 days, they drop the price.
Yeah.
If it doesn't sell in another 30 days, they drop the price.
Yeah, it's like it's automatic. It's not even like it's a decision, really. It's just like that's the policy. It just, if it hits day 31, it's going to be less.
Well, most of them, and it's kind of random. It could be anywhere from 20 to 45 days, and some of them don't do that, okay? But the other thing is, if you see a property that's a bank-owned property, or any property for that matter, if it's been on the market for 180 days, which is 6 months, and the price hasn't been dropped, the agent should be closely monitoring that enough to where they see it's been on the market for 6 months. Apparently, this is not the market price for this property. We need to go ahead and do a price reduction. Okay?
Yeah.
And if they're not doing that, in my opinion, they're doing their client, who they listed the property for, a disservice. Because if it's not selling, I've seen some properties been on the market for 300 days, almost a year, and it's never had a price drop. And that's just wrong. You
think it's laziness?
That's just wrong. I don't know about laziness. It could be. But a lot of them are the cheaper properties as well. So, I mean, face it, the agent's not going to get a whole lot of money out of it. Now, guys, listen, we've been talking about bank-owned property and HUD properties. If you want to get a free copy of my book, as well as a couple of DVDs or videos, depending on if you call in or come by the office, we've got a whole investor's kit. Shows you how to do a lot of stuff, including how to do deals in your 401k or retirement account, IRA, all that good stuff, how to create passive income, and how to buy these HUD houses for pennies on the dollar, right?
That's right. Yeah, Macy can get that for you, 877-LARRY-GO, or you can send an email into info@Bragg Radio, and I can do the same thing for you. If you're close enough to the office, let's schedule an office tour for you to come in and pick up the physical investors kit. If not, we can send out the digital to you. We could also talk to you and give you the dates for our next upcoming 3-day events. I know we've got one coming up in Dallas-Fort Worth. We've also got one in Charlotte. And then after that, we'll be in Orlando. So we're hitting a couple different cities for the rest of the year. We can get you signed up for that as well. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Welcome back. This is Candace.
What's happening?
There you are.
and Larry.
You get going with some air.
Halen.
Well, no, just
Van
some.
Halen.
Well, Van Halen maybe, but I'm talking about air instruments. We got a keyboard. Oh, here goes TJ. Look what happened.
That's awesome.
Look what you did. Are you proud of that?
The air tambourine.
Are you proud of what you turned him into?
That's funny. All right, so welcome back, Bragg Radio, investing to be rich and generous. We prefer real estate. We teach people how to invest in real estate, buy and sell houses, whether you want to be an active investor or a passive investor. If you want to wholesale, flip, do lease options, subject to, do short sales, buy HUD houses, bank-owned houses, seller financing,
Work with
be a
wraps, work
landlord.
with trust, use
Yeah.
your self-directed IRA, all that good stuff.
See, there's so much to learn. I've been doing this
It's crazy.
30-plus years, almost as long as you've been in existence, right?
As long as I've been in existence,
Yeah,
yeah.
almost as long as you've been living, right?
Almost.
Yeah, almost. That's funny. I bought my first house in 1984, I believe it was.
Yep, I was pretty brand new at that point.
You were, weren't you?
Yep.
Yep. That was my very first deal. It was an FHA non-qualifying assumable loan.
We're not even going to get into that because those aren't even doable anymore.
That's true. You could just sign your name and take over a loan.
Yeah, we ain't even talking about that because
they stopped that in 1978.
So
Anyway.
Right. So we've been going through some questions that we've gotten or that we've had from the 3-day event, this last one that we did in Charlotte, which is it was very good. I loved that event. It was great.
It was a great event.
Everybody was really nice. So one of the questions too, and when we were talking about due diligence, you have a whole little section on due diligence and things that we do when we are beginning to, after we've kind of done our analyzation and we are moving more into.
Excuse me, back up a second.
No,
After we've done
I'm
our
not.
what?
I'm not backing up. After we've analyzed the property.
After we've done our analysis.
Analysis.
Analyzation.
Write that down too. I've given
That
you
sounds
two.
like some kind
I've
of
given
a
you
disease
two.
or something.
Analyzation.
Analyzation.
Don't say it slow
sorry.
because it'll sound really bad. So put that on my list too. Anyway, after we've analyzed the property and we're getting more into
I've called it
actual.
a prescription for you for some
See,
analyzation.
He won't let me move on. He won't let me. He's got to spin, and then he's like a dog with a bone.
Your pharmacist is Walgreens? Okay, I've called in an analyzation prescription for you.
He gets stuck on something. You know how much I'm going to have to hear about this the rest of the day. Anyway, when we're doing due diligence, when we're to that point.
In other words, we're separating fact from opinion.
Yeah,
when we get a house under contract, and then we want to make sure that it really has the correct after repaired value or ARV and the correct amount of repairs and then it's not in a war zone.
No structural
and what it'll rent
stuff
for and
and
what
everything.
it will sell for.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, good.
So we're at that point, right? This question is, do you check the town population? Is that something that factors in when we're looking at, if we're going to be able to resell it or how quick we'd be able to resell it?
Well, let me digress here just a minute.
Of
like
course.
normal.
Of course. Let's chase this shiny squirrel.
Let me tell you where this question came from, because I was telling people at the group that I buy houses all over. I don't care if it's in Charlotte or Greensboro or Raleigh or Jackson, Mississippi or Jacksonville, Florida. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
And a lot of the properties I buy are in small towns. Like we're coming to you from the flagship station, right?
Right.
In Charlotte. But we buy houses in Rock Hill, Chester,
Sumter,
Parkton,
Maysville.
Lexington, Maysville, all over.
Yeah.
Fayetteville and everywhere, right? So someone was asking, well, do you check the population? Guys, I got to tell you, I love real estate, but I'm not a detail person, okay? That's why I could never be a private pilot, okay? They got too many checklists and too many things they got to go through.
You just want to hire one.
I'm just like, get me in, close the door, and let me know when we get there, right? So I could never do that. I'm not a detail person. So I don't spend, and this is a problem that a lot of people have, Candace.
I want to back up, hold on to that too, but even though it's just you, it's not just you that doesn't do it. We haven't set our team up to do this either.
That's true. But there's a lot of people out there that have paralysis of analysis, right? Paralysis of analyzation.
Paralysis.
See, it just doesn't fit as well with your word.
It doesn't fit with paralysis. No, it doesn't.
So many people get paralysis of analysis. They won't make an offer. So I gave an example when they said, do you check the population? Well, the short answer is no. And I know it took me 3 minutes to say that. But the short answer is no, okay? But I gave an example of a house that we just bought and sold. We bought this house for $26,000, and we sold it for $39,900. We bought it at 10 o'clock. We sold it at 10:30. We bought and sold it the exact same day. It's called Real Estate Day Trading. I wrote a book about it called Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading. And if you call Macy, she'll give you a copy of that too.
It's in the investor's kit.
It's in the investor's kit. She'll email you a link to download it, or you can come by and pick it up, whatever. But this property, it was in a little town called Teachie, North Carolina. Teachie. And we got that bid accepted. It was a HUD house.
Right.
And we got it under contract to buy it at 26. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was listed for either in the 50s or 60s, okay? It was listed either in the 50s or the 60s. So what happened was we got it under contract for 26, and we started marketing it right away. We started putting out signs. We started marketing it. We put it on Craigslist, and we found some buyers. We found a buyer, because you only need one per house, right? Mm-hmm. So we found a buyer willing to pay us $39,900. And every buyer we talked to, like, are you a cash buyer? Can you close next week? Are you a cash buyer? Can you close next week? Because we want to make sure that we don't have to sit on and hold the property. That's called wholesaling, or getting started in real estate day trading, okay? It's called day trading real estate. We bought it. We went to the closing. We bought it at 10 o'clock. We had our buyer lined up. They wired their money. In fact, in our contract to sell, it says they have to have their money 48 hours
in advance
with
of
the
closing.
attorney.
Yep.
In advance of the closing.
That's
You're
right.
So they had their money there, and we made, okay, over $10,000 net doing this deal, okay? Over $10,000 net. And this population in Teachie was 900, okay? It was 900 people in the entire population of the town. So what do we do to market properties in small towns? Here's what we do. If there's not a lot of people in the town of Teachie, for example, we're going to find out, by going to the convenience stores, going to the fast food, whatever. What's the next town over? Or just look on a map. Google will tell you anything you want to know, okay?
Well, not only that, but yes, so we market our properties in the little small towns, in the towns that are next to them. We put bandit signs out everywhere. But also, you've got to remember, we're buying these houses at deep discounts. So when we go to put them back on the market, or we go to resell them, they're still at a discount from what anybody has seen it listed for before. So it's a better deal than what they've seen before. So you're going to have people that kind of may, more or less come out of the woodwork when they didn't think they could own a property before, they can now buy.
We've even had agents buy from us. A house like a HUD house that's on the MLS, that's on the market. It's on Realtor.com, Zillow.com, and HUDHomestore.com. And, we are offering it for $39,900. It might be listed in the 50s. They're like, how in the world can you sell it for $39,900? Because it's listed for this.
Right.
My standard answer is, do you want it or not?
Yeah, it doesn't
Right?
matter what we bought it for. We're offering it to you at a good deal. It says it is what it is.
That's exactly right. It's offered at a deep discount.
Right.
And that's called day trading real estate. We bought this one at 10 o'clock. We sold it at 10:30. And I didn't even attend the closing. Nobody from our office attended the closing, did we?
We don't. Really, any closings. We don't go to closings.
We don't go to closings.
No.
So you can get a copy of the Real Estate Day Trading book, the HUD book, a couple of DVDs, some stuff about doing deals in your IRA, as well as how to set up your LLCs and all that. It's all in the investor's kit, right?
Yeah, that's right. If you come out of the office, there's more stuff. I'll go ahead and tell you. There's more stuff in the physical kit. If you come and do an office tour, you can pick up the physical kit while you're there. There's more stuff in it than in the digital. And that's just, honestly, it's because you take more effort to come into the office. We're going to put more effort into what we give you. So if you are far away and you need the digital kit for right now, grab that when you get close to us and you're coming in for an event or coming into town for an event. Go ahead and do your physical kit, then come by for an office tour. But Macy can get you set up with either one. 877-LARRY-GO. She can also give you details about our next upcoming 3-day event that you should get registered for. We'll be right back. And we're back. This is our generous portion of Brag Radio, investing to be rich and generous.
This is your favorite part, isn't it?
To be rich and generous. Whatever we're doing to be rich and generous. Yes, this is my most generous. Yes, this is my favorite part. I like being able to let people know of different ways, like real estate has been able to help somebody. And our education doing it is just all that much better. So this week we have Josh on the line.
What's going on, Larry? How are y'all?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
We're really excited to have you on today. I know you work with one of our other students, Quinn, that we had on a while back. And we wanted to have you on as well because you got your own thing that you're doing. I mean, I know you guys do some business together, but you also got your own thing going as well. And so that's the reason we wanted to have you on, because I know you are being rich and generous as well. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and about your real estate business?
Well, me and Quinn are actually partners on all the deals we do. We're in 3 different markets right now. We're in a smaller market in Lake City, Florida, which we do some wholesale flips in. We're also in the Alachua County market over here, which is mainly the Gainesville market in Florida. And actually, we just jumped off into Tulsa right now, and we're mainly focusing on our wholesale flips, just trying to get a very precise process down on that as of right now. We just closed one Monday. I think we made about $4,000 on it, so just a nice little flip. But right now we're just working on the traction and the process, perfecting that process of the wholesale flip.
Where are you finding most of your deals, Josh? Is it like with HUD, or are you guys doing a lot of MLS or for sale by owners? Where are you finding things?
Well, I'd say the most successful thing we've had success with signs, but that's kind of a shotgun blast.
Right.
But as far as the consistency, we have success with mail. Now, we just started a new process that we're doing in Tulsa, so we're trying to master the process of that, and that's we're doing some stuff with some vacant houses and some skip tracing and calling up owners. But as the past, I'd have to say being able to work the numbers and everything, direct mail has been our most successful leads.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's really good. So, So you guys are doing direct mail straight to either absentee owners or vacant properties or something like that, correct?
Yeah. I like something that we found out in one of our last, probably 6 weeks ago is, we were mailing to a large amount of tax defaults and different things, and we figured out that every house that we purchased was absentee owned or in mortgage default. So what we're doing now is if it's not a mortgage default, it's got to be absentee owned. So if it's tax default, it's got to be a tax default absentee, because there's too much of an emotional tie coming if it's a tax default and they live there for 25 years. And so,
right.
That's something we learned, just from, meeting weekly and talking these things through.
That's really good. So now you guys live in Gainesville or around Gainesville.
Right.
And you're doing deals in 3 different markets right now. So you're basically virtual investing, right?
Right. And, I'd say, we're virtual investing, and I'm probably, the most hard-headed about it than Quinn is. I'm a little more of a control guy. So I want to have my hands on stuff. So when we ventured out into Tulsa, it really made me let go of the wheel a lot more. And so it started really teaching me that, we can really get bigger, the more we let go of it and just, pay everyone to do every little, task, whether it be an inspection or, whatever it may be.
Right. Now, how are you guys selling your properties now? I mean, you get a house, you're in Florida, you get a house in Tulsa, and you get it under contract through your direct mail. How are you marketing that property to find a buyer? I'm assuming you're wholesaling.
Right. We're wholesaling. There's a couple different ways. There's always Facebook, Craigslist, and those things. The first couple we got out there, we were finding vacant leads, and then, I actually found a buyer through another vacant house that we had skipped trace because he owned it. He just bought it. And so when I got another one under contract, I just called him, and he was the man for that property. That's
great. That's really good.
Yep.
So virtual investing really does work, huh?
Sure. Yes, sir.
That is awesome. That's really good. And, just so everybody knows, you haven't been doing this for years and years. You really just got started not too long ago, right?
Yeah, about just a little over a year. March. I'd say I had a few conversations with Quinn and come and sat down and, rode around with him for a day or so and kind of sat on the sidelines and watched. And then about March 1st, I really started doing it kind of like as a, maybe I'll do this a little bit on the side. And then, a month or two into it, I really started to dive in and, really put a lot more marketing and time into it. And so, a little over a year, I've been, pretty much, going at it.
It's addictive, isn't it?
It is. And, I was a strength coach at a high school for 5 years in football, and, we were able to build, we won 2 state championships and played for a third. So I'm kind of the type of guy that I don't believe that failure just happens by accident. That's on the way to being something great. So I really can't stop until I see something great happening. Not that I'll stop then. I'll just go for something even greater afterwards. But
good.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that.
What are you with everything that y'all got going on in real estate? How are you kind of being generous right now with either the blessings from real estate that you're receiving or just the time that it's allowing you to have?
Well, I'm me and Quinn, we go to church together. That's how we met. I'm
right.
big into, I serve with the youth over there, and this summer I'm actually going to be serving at a Christian campground, right, kind of not too far from my house.
Okay.
But actually, once a year we do a above and beyond offering, that in our church, and I was able to sow the biggest seed that I have ever done. In the 5-digit range, and that was something really, faith in real estate, let's say, but it was just a seed of faith, and it's really allowed me to do that. So, and that's a blessing in itself, just to be able to do that and know that you're sowing towards, something eternal.
Right. Totally agree with that.
That's really good. That is really good. So, and you guys, the church that you go to, it's pretty good ways away from your house, isn't it?
It's approximately an hour from both of us. Probably, I'm a little closer. He's a little further, and then he's an hour away from me because we live like almost a triangle away from the church.
Wow,
if that makes any sense?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I do.
Okay, yeah.
I do.
Okay.
So, what are some things that you want to do as you continue to grow in your real estate business? What are some ways that you want to continue to grow to be rich and be generous as you move forward?
Well, some of the things I'm really working on now is I really want to start building a team that I can build up and really pour into my teammates, the people who work with me. I don't want to say work under me, because I want to look to them as an equal. I want them to feel like they have ownership of our team, and I really want to pour into them, and I really want to be able to have them to have the mental state that they're wanting to be more than just an employee, and I want to build them up and do generous things for them. As they turn into the person that I'm looking for. Send them on trips and different things.
So you're looking to basically not only be able to help yourself make money in real estate, but be able to invest in others and mentor and guide them to become successful so they can start bragging as well, right?
No doubt about it.
That's awesome.
I know that's where I thrive at, really building people up, starting them at one point and bringing them to somewhere else. Just because I've had a few trials in my life, and now to get where I'm at, I know that people can start one place and end another.
That's so true. That's so true. Betty, we really appreciate you being on. Thanks a lot, and keep on doing what you're doing.
That's going to wrap up today's Bragg Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous. For more information about what Larry and Candace talked about on today's show, or to get a free investor's kit, call 877-LARRY-GO. That's 877-527-7946. You can also go to braggradio.com. Make sure to tune in every Saturday for Bragg Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous. Larry and Candace will show you how to invest in real estate and the many ways real estate creates the ideal investment here on News 1110 99.3 WBT.